Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Vyas with New Wave Wellness Center. And in this multi-part video, I'm going to be taking on the very interesting and very important topic of inflammation. Now, we're all familiar with inflammation in one form or the other. But did we know that there's two kinds of inflammations? There is one that's called acute inflammation, that's your short-lived, and then there's the chronic inflammation. So let's just take on acute inflammation. Now, we've all had this in one form or the other. This is where, say, you get stung by a bee. What happens? Your body will naturally produce a bit of an immune reaction where you end up with some swelling, you get redness, there's something called heat. You experience a little heat in that area, and pain. Now, those are the four main signs or telltale signs of acute inflammation. Now, acute inflammation is actually a good thing. Because as I said, when you have something foreign in your body launches that immune response to get rid of it or control that situation. And same thing happens with any kind of like an infection. When you have a cold, a virus or something, your body creates an acute inflammatory response to help get rid of that. So that is your acute inflammation. And again, the way I said, a short-lived thing. Once the body heals, once the inflammation or your body is taking care of that foreign invading substance, it takes care of the inflammation itself. So that is a good thing, as we said. Now, the second thing is something called chronic inflammation. Now, chronic inflammation is, as the word says, it's something that's been going on for a long period of time. Now, this happens when your body is, in a constant state of attack. Your immune system will feel that there's a constant state of attack in there, and it stays at a heightened response. Now, when it does that, it leads to all sorts of other different problems. It also causes, it's an inflammation, as I said, so it can cause damage to the tissues. Now, when you have too much of these white blood cells floating around, sometimes they start attacking healthy and normal tissue and organs in your body. And that leads to something called your autoimmune conditions. Now, chronic inflammation has been associated, and research has shown that it is one of the main causes of a lot of chronic illnesses. Your heart disease, diabetes, your cancers, ulcerative colitis, any of those inflammatory disorders, your arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, or even just simple, your autoimmune conditions. These are all based off, or they're caused by this chronic inflammation that's occurring in your body. Now, what causes this chronic inflammation? As we said, acute, we know that you have some foreign substance that's attacking you, so your body creates that acute response. In chronic inflammation, your body is doing that because of what's going on with our lifestyles. That's the biggest thing that affects and what causes a lot of chronic illnesses. Our standard American diet, our SAD diets, right? Loaded with sugars, processed foods, chemicals, preservatives. All those things going into the body creates the body to create this immune response to those things. Now, it's not just the foods we're putting in, the environmental toxins we're being exposed to, from exhaust fumes to the chemicals that we're putting on our bodies from lotions and potions. These are all, again, chronic stressors. Now, stress comes in all different forms and shapes. So stress is another big factor that causes or helps your body create this chronic inflammation in there. Well, we talked about food. Right? Now, the other big thing that is associated with food is your lack of activities. Now, our lifestyles have become such that everyone is so sedentary. We're sitting at a desk for hours in a day or just sitting binge watching shows and stuff. So this activity levels have gone down. Now, that's another motivator for chronic illnesses to occur. So these are a few things that cause the chronic illness. Now, as I said, the CDC states that 6 out of 10 Americans have one form of a chronic illness or another. Now, out of that, they say that 4 out of 10 have 2 or more chronic illnesses. So those are significant numbers. Chronic illnesses, autoimmune conditions are growing at a very rapid rate. And biggest thing for that, the way I said, is yes, there are drugs that can help, but what do they help with? They help with the symptoms of these things, of the chronic diseases. They do not control the chronic inflammation that's going on. So as we do in our office, the functional medicine part, we look for the root cause of most of these. And that is why I wanted to make this a multi-part, because I will talk about almost all of these main chronic conditions and show you how they're all going back to inflammation. Because yes, we know that heart disease is caused or can be caused by increased cholesterol levels. Well, that's not the only thing. We know that diabetes is a disorder of your body not able to handle sugar. And again, that is just a symptom, that is not the cause. So there are a lot of different things. They all lead back to chronic inflammation as the root cause of a lot of chronic illnesses that we are all experiencing nowadays. So stay tuned for these things. As I said, I'm going to take you through a little journey. I'll show you part by part. We'll take a disease or two each video, and I'll show you how each one of those is linked back to chronic inflammation. And at the end of all of this, I'll show you how we can control this chronic inflammation, not just help treat the symptoms that we're experiencing, but how we can get down to the root cause, control this chronic inflammation, and we may be able to control a lot of these chronic illnesses that we're facing. So stay tuned for some of these. Again, as I said, in the next video, we'll take on a topic. We'll post a few things that we are talking about, these things below, and show you maybe what we will talk about. Or if you guys are interested in a specific disease or disorder, post it below and we'll talk about those. So I hope this information has helped. Stay tuned because we're going to be showing more of these, and we'll talk about each one as I said. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.